Greetings everyone and welcome to another video, and today we're going to be taking a look at a new character from the Nier franchise coming to Wotv soon, to a global version near you. And much like King Bradley last year, he's an Earth Elemental UR character from another collaboration outside of the Final Fantasy universe. Funny how that worked, isn't it? Alright, so today we're going to be following up on the same format that we have launched in 2024, and oh my goodness, I was just, okay, it's a vision card. Woo! Oh, that was almost scary for a second there, right? Oh, okay, alright, well, that what a way to start a data look at. So today we are looking at 2P, and we're going to start off taking a look at that limit burst. If she looks familiar, it's probably because you've seen her, as she has a similar character model to 2B. Neat. Alright, so let's just hop over here, take a look at her in a Earth Elemental party, see what kind of stats we are looking at, and then we will get to work detailing her kit for you. Alright, so taking a look. With the Earth Elemental party, 103 speed, about 9,000 HP, 1,500 attack, 53 accuracy, 43 evade with her current build. A good amount of AoE resistance and single target resistance is decent. Taking a look at her weakness chart, particularly weak versus spear, which basically means that wind will do just fine against this character, probably. And also magical and shoot range seems to be generally good against her. So now let us take a look, and there are a couple other things to talk about. First off, her fist-based weapon is acquired from a challenge board and not from a farming event, which is quite notable. 160 attack, 20 crit, condition strike attack resistance penetration of 20 for this character, as well as increasing strike evade of 10 for self. Grants the following effect: plus 10 evade when performing a critical hit, which is a nice buff for this character, including extra evasion equipment, and you probably are cooking quite nicely with this character, especially if you can build more towards luck and critical, which go hand in hand. The equipment from her event is Pod 042, which mostly is generally the same. However, there is a accuracy version as well as a barrier version and a shield version. All three are particularly pretty nice and probably need to be farmed a fair amount, because it is an accessory with just generally each version having 5 agility, which is pretty nice. Increasing AoE resistance of 8 for the character that does have this equipped. And I do believe, nope, never mind. AoE resistance is the only thing that you're getting off of this. My bad. I thought I remembered something different, but there you go. So next up, let's dive into 2P's kit. Earth Elemental UR, most definitely a limited character. Cost of 93 move, 2 jump, with Axite as well as Thief. Axite being Grifford's job, one of the newer ones, which is a slash-based type damage job with some defensive capability. Well, he is a machine, not a human, which makes her immune to human killer. Fist type weapons, hat, clothing, accessories. Speaking of accessories, her TMR is an accessory with 182 HP, 6 defense, 13 evade, 10 critical rate, with the ability increased reaction block of 50 for 3 turns for self, and grants a regen of HP. While I generally think that this will be useful in terms of how important this TMR is, I feel that it's generally just okay, as it only has an effect for a character that is equipped for this, and HP regeneration just never feels quite as interesting as some other things in the game. So this TMR feels just... As for master ability, AoE resistance 10, critical rate of 10, dream ability evasion of 15 with strike attack resistance penetration of 10. Taking a look at her skills, we will take a look at the supports in a second. Let's start with the sub jobs. Thief most notably does have Steel Heart as well as doing some CT modification, which is most definitely useful in certain types of content which haven't appeared too much lately. But the fact that Thief does have an evasion rate boost for multiple turns is quite nice and could work with the plan of just making the evasion type character. As for Axite, Axite does have some HP restore and some damage, as well as reducing counter and move to unit panel, but nothing here feels particularly that interesting, except for potentially the effect of being up against other strike-based teams and giving yourself a little advantage. Still, for sacrificing this, you'll have to give up 2 abilities from 2-piece kit. First off, damage while inflicting stun, which feels fairly just okay and not that interesting. However, the second ability is a damage with short range, which is a triple hit, which is a nice source of earth elemental chaining. Decrease agility by 20% when performing a critical hit for the target, which goes along with the general luck evasion that this unit seems pushing. Now, taking a look back up, let's take a look at her counter. Chance to counter slash and strike damage 20% with for physical or magical, which is quite interesting because how many magical slash or strikers are there? Not too terribly many, but still this just feels generally weaker as opposed to A2, which has a evade to everything unconditionally, even at a lower percentage, just because this is only for specific damage types. And strike, while particularly good in the mirror match against strike elemental teams, will not be good most other places. Alright, taking a look at her unique ones, attack 24%, defense penetration rate of 40, and increasing the critical rate of 15 is generally pretty nice, while also, if I can just one really quickly, parry attack resistance up, as well as recovers a certain percentage of HP when HP is below 70% one time. Looking at her other stuff, attack increase 24%, decrease AP 5 from Grifford's job, as well as HP and elemental chain resistance, acquired AP and move and agility boost from Thief. Unfortunately, no actual extra sources of luck anywhere in here or evasion from her skills. But the fact that this ability can essentially reboot her and give her an HP restore, while this one is just generally good for helping her get criticals, are probably decent enough to both be run. However, I can see a case for potentially wanting some of her other supports. Now, taking a look at her main job, she has Lightning Killer, which again is very nice, but much like Lucio's main job, has a very, very short range and is just alright. Next ability, increase evasion rate by 25 for 3 turns, increase critical rate of 25 for 3. When casting another skill, also launch a secondary hit skill when gains a new counters for the turns. So scrolling all the way down, we can take a look at this. Chance to evade, chance to activate the effects when evading a physical hit. So basically, she evades a physical hit and she gets to fire a second or a attack off at the same time. Sort of a counter, if you will. And, well, yeah, it is a counter skill, but anyway. Continuing on. And her secondary damage ability is essentially like Bart's firing off a secondary hit is non-elemental damage, so okay, generally. Moving on, let's take a look at her next ability, which is reduce physical damage taken 50% for 3 times per self, increases attack by 40%, decreases AP consumption 30% for 3 turns for allies, increase defense by 20 for 3 for allies as well. Guaranteed hit for 3 turns for self. Damage of 165 dispels all buffs for targets. Ace. Physical damage increases and magical damage increases. Fairly short range, but if it goes off is particularly nasty, as it gives her guaranteed hit against other evasion style characters while potentially still keeping herself. Move to unit target panel, decrease AoE resistance by a factor of 50 or half, for 3 turns. 165 mod increases her single target attack resistance. Also gets upgraded to for the same amount, but increases the AoE to a box style pattern here. Which also, wait, no, it does get upgraded for it? No, I'm just... and last, break physical barrier for target. Increase defense penetration by 40, 165 mod, and when the target is killed, automatically cast a following when performing a critical hit. So when the enemy target is killed, cast this when you perform a critical hit. So you have to kill them with a critical hit as well, which decreases CT by 20 for enemies. Interesting. So my initial impressions of this character... Oh wait, we have to do Limit Burst. Well, Limit Burst, last thing, decrease strike resistance of 38% for 3 turns for target, 3 hits, and a 200% mod at 40. Honestly, 2B does look generally impressive, at least from the outside. Whether you're putting this on a strike-based team as an outside, potentially just slightly evadey character to mess with people, or you're trying to potentially just use her as a offensive character, seems quite good. Not that strike teams are the most common, but Soul more recently has also come back more into the conversation of JP meta, mainly because of A2 increasing his power, which A2 does do particularly quite well. I think that 2P is interesting as an evasion character and an evasion spike type character in strike-based teams. I think that she can fit quite nicely with certain characters that are already in the game. But I also feel that she is generally missing something from her kit to make me feel very confident, and it might just be that the unit essentially doesn't have a lot of range. You see that here the AoE gets improved and then the range gets improved on one of her abilities. Most of her abilities feel like she needs to get quite close, given that she has a barrier as well as, you know, just generally evasion, and not only evasion, but ways of keeping herself alive. Maybe it's enough to get there, but I feel a little bit more nervous about recommending this character as just data-wise. It feels like something's not there, and without barrier protection, if she goes up against anything with a decent amount of accuracy and against a unit that can break her barrier, you might just be dead very, very quickly. But we'll test her out in the following video. So thanks so much for watching. Take care. See you next time.